I am definitely glad to be here, and I'm here to talk about something that is so important to us. This is a very serious threat to the continuing existence of our nation. And I don't get much more important than that. So as Americans, you'll find yourselves completely at odds with and deeply concerned by the agenda for the 21st century. And it's called that by the United Nations. That's why it's Agenda 21. It's the agenda for the 21st century. It's called that by the United Nations and by the world, all 179 nations that signed on to it. It is a blueprint. It is the action plan to inventory and control all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all information, and all human beings in the world. Doesn't get much more comprehensive than that, does it? So it's a transition from representative government to government by unelected boards and commissions. It's the erasure of jurisdictional boundaries. And you find that you will lose your property rights, your private property rights, and of course you want to remember your body is your most important private property. Amen. Loss of sovereignty, and ultimately, of course, your loss of freedom. So of course you're going to be concerned about this, not just as Tennesseans and not just as Americans, but as citizens and human beings in the world. United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development was signed on to by 179 nations.
Bonjour. Pour répondre aux enjeux du 21e siècle, les collectivités ont à leur disposition un plan d'action. C'est l'agenda 21 local. Il s'intéresse aux principaux aspects du développement durable: l'économie, le social et le culturel, et l'environnement. Mais avant d'aller plus loin, où et comment est né l'agenda 21 ? Il faut remonter en 1992 au premier sommet de la Terre de Rio.
Cette conférence a eu pour objet de dresser le bilan de la planète à la fin du XXe siècle, constater que c'était pas très brillant sur aucun des plans ni environnementaux ni sociaux. On s'est dit pour le XXIe siècle, il faut se retrousser les manches, agir pour améliorer l'état de la planète et la situation des hommes au XXIe siècle. Et donc il y a un document final qui s'appelle Agenda 21, 21 comme XXIe siècle, dans lequel les États ont inscrit un certain nombre de responsabilités pour eux-mêmes bien sûr, mais ont également interpellé différents acteurs, les ONG, les jeunes, les entreprises, les associations, les syndicats, étaient appelés à agir aussi pour le XXIe siècle, et en particulier d'ailleurs les collectivités locales qui ont leur chapitre, c'est le chapitre 28, qui les incitait à mettre en place à leur échelle un plan d'action en faveur du développement durable.
L'agenda 21 local est une démarche volontaire de la part des collectivités. Aucune loi ne les oblige. La mise en place d'un agenda 21 part donc de l'observation d'un territoire et des enjeux environnementaux et économiques ou sociaux qui y sont liés.
In 1992, at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, George H.W. Bush committed the United States to implementing sustainable development principles, and it has been supported by every president ever since. It's a global plan, but it is implemented locally. So United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development is the biggest public relations scam in the history of the world. And I wish I was exaggerating, but I'm not. It is actually far more than that. The agenda for the 21st century is a recipe for destruction that enables and justifies monitoring and metering and restricting our energy and water usage. You'll see that as smart meters. Instituting a carbon tax on industry, sinking our economy, exhausting our military with endless war, diagnosing a huge portion of our population with mental illness and drugging us, revamping the school system by inserting sustainable development principles into every course, from kindergarten all the way through to postgraduate school. It declares our public lands off limits to humans, changes every land use document in the nation to require high-density development, high-density housing in city centers to more easily monitor and control us. It allows for warrantless searches and domestic surveillance. We have been identified as enemy combatants in our own country. We have seen the redefinition of torture. If an enemy was trying to destroy us, it couldn't do a better job. This is the erection of a corporatocracy, a total global totalitarian state, and it is happening now. No flashing lights, no titles. You won't see the term Agenda 21 anywhere except to label you crazy. But you are not crazy. The plan is crazy. We are not crazy.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, so here's how it all works. There is an overarching political and social philosophy that goes with this plan, and it is communitarianism. It says that you need to balance the individual's rights with the rights of the community. Now, you're an American. You know that your Constitution guarantees your individual rights, the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, you were born with those rights. Those rights were given to you by your Creator. They cannot be taken away by any government or granted by any government. They are guaranteed to you by your Constitution, your individual rights. But under communitarianism, the community's rights need to be balanced with your rights. Now, what is the community? What are the community's rights? They are undelineated. They are not written. They can change at any time. When they're balanced with the individual's rights, the community's rights are always like a brick, and the individual's rights are like a feather. That's the idea of balance. Now, I have an image that I like to use, and some of you have seen me do this, and I like to do it because it's visual. So just think about this. We've got a couple of clear glasses. One glass is full of water, and that's a constitutional republic. That's what we have here in the United States, constitutional republic. Then we have another glass, and it's a glass of water. And, excuse me, it's a glass of milk. And that is a communitarian state. Communitarian state, Soviet Union, communist Soviet Union, communist China, Hitler's Germany. That's a communitarian state. It's all for the fatherland, all for the common good, okay? So that's your milk. So now you're going to take a glass pitcher, you're going to put it down here on the table, and you're going to balance. You're going to pour those together, and you're going to balance them, and now what do you have? You got milk, don't you? You have lost your individual rights. They have been subsumed into the rights of the community. It is all for the common good. Think about that when you lose your rights to your water. You don't own that water. You don't own that water. That water belongs to the community. So, Agenda 21 is dependent on something called the Hegelian dialectic. And basically the way this works is it creates, you have a crisis that is created, and then a solution that's posed. And the balance between the two becomes the new normal, because you know everybody has to give and take a little bit. You got to have your compromise, right? You never would have allowed a compromise of your freedom and your private property rights, and you have been brought through a series of incremental compromises to a place that you never would have accepted. This is the balance. So, what's the crisis? Global warming, climate change. Climate change, global warming. I don't know, it's serious. The planet's in danger. Oh my goodness, chaos, disaster. The sea levels are rising. You're going to have to get your snorkel out or you're not going to make it, right? No time to lose. In 100 years, we're all going to be underwater. It's all going to be over soon. And all intelligent people agree that it's our fault. Now, I'll tell you, I got this from this little rag of a newspaper where I live. It says, it's hard to deny that the Earth is functioning well over capacity. Like an overworked horse, It's simply a matter of time before the global organism collapses. Right. Okay. Feel that panic? Got that terror kind of getting you? Feeling nervous about it? This is dependent on your ability, your inability to think clearly. It's dependent on your nervousness, your fear, and your ability to react instead of to think clearly and not just react, but to be a thinking, logical human being. All intelligent people agree now that it's our fault. Our selfish, wasteful, greedy ways have destroyed the planet, almost. Okay, what do? UN to the rescue. Here it comes. UN's gonna save the planet.
For millions of years, this lake thrived. But now it is dying. Poisoned by humans who put themselves above nature. It's time to stop the killing. It's time to heal our planet. It's time to remove your footprint. Agenda 21 is coming soon.
I'm Melissa Melton reporting for Infowars.com. As Agenda 21, the United Nations plan to take control of the world from the local level up, grows across America under the guise of the Green Movement, our national sovereignty, our personal freedom, and our very way of life is under attack.
What is Agenda 21 for new listeners? Why is it important? And what are the new big developments? I mean, is it safe to say the battle is joined right now, Rosa?
For people who don't know what Agenda 21 is, it's not what is Agenda 21, it's almost what isn't. It is the blueprint, it is the action plan to inventory and control all land, all water, all plants, all minerals, all construction, all animals, all means of production, all energy, all information, and all human beings in the world. It is a completely comprehensive plan, it's global, and it's implemented locally.
Agenda 21 highlights include the destruction of the family unit in the name of sustainable development, with people being forced to live in tight, compact cities and high-rise stack-em-and-pack-em apartments no bigger than this 16 by 16 foot space. This map, entitled Simulated Reserve and Corridor System to Protect Biodiversity, illustrates how the UN's Agenda 21 plan would work in the United States. Under this takeover, all personal property rights would cease to exist. The red zones, which make up the map's majority, will be mandated for little to no human use. The yellow zones are buffer zones for highly regulated use. Only in the scant green areas is any normal human use allowed. The tiny black dots are the dense megacities, where transportation will be tightly controlled, freedom will be restricted, and people will be packed in like sardines, living in tiny 275 square foot units amounting to little more than jail cells, all in the name of saving the earth.